Hey y'all, it's Robin Dunn Bryant from Whole Self Wellness. I just wanted to jump on here for a little while this evening. I've been away. I don't know. I think it was a combination of like allergies and sickness and just probably running a little bit too hard. But I was kind of out of it. Been out of it for about a week, and I've had this on my mind, and so I wanted to make sure that I came and talked to you a little bit about it today. And it's kind of a rambling story, which I'm finding is the way that I tell them. But we're going to talk a little bit about today about the very first thing that I teach clients when I start working with them, and I'm going to offer that to you if you're interested in having it. One of the things that I noticed really early on is that I can't help people regulate their emotions coming from like a really high stress state to a state of calm if they have no idea how they feel. And so one of the very first things that we do is we start doing these periodic check-ins with this really cool like emotions wheel that I found online. But there's a way that we do the check-ins and the way that we use that to allow people to answer the first questions, the first two questions I like people to be able to answer when they're working with me with coaching, which is, what do I feel and how do I feel? And often you find that if people are really overwrought, if they've dealt with some sort of trauma, if they are very stressed, if they are very tired. So new moms often can't tell you anything. They know when the baby ate, when the baby went to the bathroom, when they had a bath, but don't know anything about maybe when they've done any of those things, right? And definitely not really in depth with a lot of the nuances of their feelings. And so that's where we start. So we're going to talk about that a little bit this evening, but I want to say right away before we get started, just know that if you're interested in getting this, I haven't set anything up. I probably should at some point, but I can email it to you really quickly. If you send me an email at robin@wsw.center, I will send it over to you and I'll send you the initial instructions that I send everybody else. Maybe this is something that would be really useful for you. So when we talk about this and we talk about people being in touch with their emotions and being able to kind of know what it is that they're feeling, one of the things that often comes up with people that I work with is, well, I'm really angry. And I'm really angry and frustrated, or, add on a list of whatever it is, those kind of negative emotions or things that people might think are negative that they feel. And they're like, listen, I can't talk to you about how angry I am or about how disappointed I am or about how hurt I am, because if I open that door, then everything is going to come rushing out. And I get that. And that makes perfectly good sense. But here's the thing. If you decide that you can't feel things that feel negative to you, you actually can't feel anything that feels positive. And so a lot of times if we are overwhelmed, if we're overwrought, if we're pushing ourselves to the max and moving in these ways, and we decide, well, no, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to put this away. I'm going to shut it away. If we're talking about the case of trauma, perhaps we've buried that away. But you can't close the door on one thing and leave the door open on the other. It just doesn't work that way. So I'm gonna share a story with you to tell you how we got here in just a second. But I just want to remind you, if you are interested in having me send you the instructions on how I use this with people, and sending you a link to the chart, I'd be happy to do that. No fancy thing, just send it to my email, robin@wsw.center. I was about to give you one of my several other email addresses. Send it to my Whole Self Wellness email address and I'll pop it over to you. And then I'll probably set a reminder in my phone to say, hey, check in on somebody in a week or so and see how it's working for them, because I'm really interested to see how it works kind of as a standalone piece. So here's the interesting story. I'll tell you, this is where it came from. My husband and I are looking for schools for our sons. We've got a little one who is going to be 5 in July, and just kind of starting to look around. He's not going to go to kindergarten this year, so he's got another year of preschool, but we've been looking, at a leisurely pace, which is unusual for us, to look at different programs and see what we're seeing and what we like. And we ran into a school that uses something called conscious discipline, which is, sometimes all the rage with folks. People use it well or not. But the thing that really intrigues me about it is it's about connecting on a brain to brain or human to human level. and recognizing that as the adults, we've got some advantages. Our brains are fully developed, most of us, if we're over about 25 or so, and that the children, they're not, right? And so conscious discipline looks to meet kids where they are and find ways really to circumvent problems so that there's not a lot of discipline that needs to happen. And one of the main things that they do for them is emotional regulation. One of the main things that they teach the kids is how to recognize, what do I feel? How do I feel? And then to be able to articulate that to adults who hopefully will mirror to them a calm state that says, I see you and I understand, and I'll help you work through it. And so in these conversations and going to these different programs and having conversations with my husband, I'm like, well, this is what I'm teaching adults, like how amazing it is that we will be able to impart this to our son if these are the types of programs that we get for him, so that he doesn't have to untie this, this long knot, right? I didn't know how to do that for a while. It's been, I'm lucky that I am at a place where I can do that now, but it took years. It took a long time before I could. And so I'm excited to be able to do that. So that's kind of where this came from. I'm like, this is the first thing that I teach people. Even before I teach them TRE these days, I want to get a baseline of what do they know about how they're feeling and even what they're feeling. Do you notice how your body feels? Do you notice when you're tired or hungry? Do you notice when you're sore? Do you notice when you feel giddy in your body? All of these sorts of things we don't necessarily notice. And so really digging into that is what we do first. So if you want this, you want me to send it over to you, happy to do that, robin@wsw.center. But I just want to kind of come back to this whole idea of where it is that I start, no matter who I'm seeing, someone who's dealing with a really stressful job or someone who has lived through something that was really traumatizing. We start in the same place every time. What do I feel and how do I feel? Because before we can even move forward to let go of some of the emotions that feel overwhelming and to open the door for some that feel more delightful, we've got to have a way to talk about that. And we've got to have a way for somebody to be able to experience all of those things in their own body and in their own lives. So that's what we do, starting with the emotions wheel and listening and doing some different things that we do with that. That's where we begin. That's where we start. How do I feel? What do I feel? And so if you're interested, again, please just drop me an email. I'll send it over to you. You can use it on your own for a little while. I'll pop in on you if you send me an email. I'm going to ask you later, like, hey, how did that work for you? Did you have any questions? And if you have any questions right now, pop them into the comments. I'm going to leave my email address in the comments. So if you're interested in getting this, go ahead and drop me an email and I'll send it over to you. It's not going to be like an automatic response. It's just me doing it. And there are some days that I'm quicker than others, but I will absolutely get it over to you because I want to see if it would work in your life. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day and I'll talk to you soon. Be peaceful.